With Nokia Pro Camera on your Nokia Lumia 1020, you can take professional-looking photos with the easy-to-use interface. Let's explore some of the Nokia Pro Camera features. To launch Nokia Pro Camera when the phone is locked, press and hold the camera key. The control bar at the top of the screen allows you to manually control the flash, white balance, focus, ISO, shutter speed, and exposure settings. Tap the flash icon to turn the flash to on, focus light only, no focus light, off, or auto. The focus light activates a blinking lamp before taking a photo to help the camera focus in dark settings. Another way you can modify the lighting in your photo is with white balance. This setting changes how the camera sees and records different sources of light in a scene. Tap the white balance icon to open the selector dial. Tap and hold the white balance icon and drag it up the dial to see the effects change. You can adjust the settings from auto to cloudy, sunshine, incandescent, and fluorescent. Return the white balance icon to auto and then tap anywhere on the screen to hide the white balance dial. The next setting is manual focus, which gives you full control of the distance at which your camera focuses. Tap the manual focus icon to open the selector dial. Tap and hold the manual focus icon and drag it slowly up the dial to see the focus change from close up to far away. With Nokia Lumia 1020, you can focus on objects from about 6 inches to beyond 33 feet away. Return the manual focus icon to the auto setting, and then tap anywhere on the screen to hide the manual focus dial. Another camera setting is ISO, which measures the camera's ability to capture light. Tap the ISO icon to open its selector dial. Tap and hold the ISO icon and drag it up the dial to change the settings. With a low ISO, the camera allows very little light to reach the sensor, which creates a sharp, highly detailed image when your subject area is well lit. You would use a lower ISO in bright daylight to decrease the amount of light that reaches the sensor. Let me show you what that means. This photo was taken outside during the middle of the day. The ISO was set to 100, which is the lowest setting, making the sensor less sensitive to light. Notice how the birds in the shade are nicely lit and the trees across the water are crisp and clear, so you can see the individual trees. Overall, the colors are vibrant and the image is very detailed. Now, here's the same scene, but the ISO was set to 1600, which is high setting. Too much light from the sun was captured by the sensor, and it caused the photo to be overexposed. The detailing we saw in the first photo is now washed out by the sunlight. As we saw in the last photo, the higher the ISO, the more light reaches the sensor. While a high ISO is not ideal for taking photos in bright daylight, it's a perfect way to capture photos in a dark room or at nighttime. Tap and hold the ISO icon and drag it up the dial to change it to the highest ISO setting. Let's look at this photo that was taken in a dimly lit coffee shop. The ISO was set to 100, so the available light in the room did not have enough time to reach the sensor, making the entire photo dark and the people difficult to see. Here's another photo of the same setting, but this time the ISO was set to 1600. Increasing the ISO amplified the amount of light that reached the sensor, so the photo looks well lit and the people are easy to see. When you increase the ISO, however, it adds digital noise, which makes your photos look grainy. To retain the quality of your photo, use the lowest ISO possible. Now that you have seen how ISO affects your photos in different lighting situations, return the ISO icon to auto setting, and then tap anywhere on the screen to hide the ISO dial. The next icon is shutter speed, which defines how quickly or slowly the shutter opens and closes again. When you have the shutter speed set to auto, it will automatically adjust when you change the ISO to help you capture the best amount of light. Tap the shutter speed icon to open its menu. Tap and hold the shutter speed icon and drag it up the dial to change the settings. Fast shutter speeds up to 1/16,000th of a second work well in daylight. Slow shutter speeds up to 4 seconds create amazing night shots, like the kinds with light trails. Let me show you a couple of photo tricks you can create by adjusting the shutter speed. First is freezing motion. This photo of a fountain was taken with the ISO set to 3200 and the shutter speed at 1/4000th of a second, which is really fast. The shutter speed makes the water in this photo look like it was stopped in midair, so you can see the individual droplets of water. The next trick with the shutter speed is light trails. To create light trails, you need a moving light source and a slow shutter speed, which keeps the shutter open for a longer period of time to capture the light as it moves. In this photo, the ISO was set to 200 and the shutter speed was at 2 seconds. Let's return the shutter speed icon to auto setting. Now tap anywhere on the screen to hide the ISO dial. The last icon is exposure compensation, which changes the amount of light recorded on the sensor. Tap the exposure compensation icon to open its menu. Tap and hold the exposure compensation icon and drag it up and down to change the settings. If your subject is in a shadow, increase the exposure to make the photo bright. If your subject is in bright light, decrease the exposure to make the photo darker. To adjust all these settings at once, tap and hold the camera icon and swipe your finger left across the screen. Now let's take a photo using some of the settings you just learned. Our subject has a shadow. To remove the shadow, increase the exposure compensation by dragging the icon to 1.0. To bring the subject into focus, adjust the manual focus icon up until the subject is at a desirable focus. Tap anywhere on the screen to close the menu. Press the camera key to take the photo. If you need a quick refresher on your creative controls, try the tutorial in Nokia Pro Camera. Now you're familiar with the easy-to-use Nokia Pro Camera. We hope you enjoy taking high-quality photos on your Nokia Lumia 1020.